Welcome back to another episode of Oakland Is. The crew is back with you. We got Judah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, wait, we ain't supposed to do that.
No, we good.
I gotta shout out my peoples, man, all my fans. All 11.
We got Marcus.
What's going on, yo?
Is it Marky Mark?
Maybe.
Working on that nickname still. We got Ray.
What's going on?
I'll let my fans figure it out.
And yours truly, A-Trav.
Hit Marky Mark on the OnlyFans. Hashtag Christian Mingle.
Damn.
We're just going to keep it moving. Happy to be back with y'all. If you're listening and you listen to part one, then you came back for more after hour 45 of us going deep on Oakland sports history. So, yeah, we're excited for today. We have some more coming from the same place for you. But before we get to that, today's episode is brought to you by Vince Carter putting his arm in the rim at the 2000 All-Star Game in Oakland.
Savage.
Yes, sir.
Iconic.
Does anybody remember where they were when they saw that the first time?
Was we watching that?
I think we were watching.
I think we was probably over there watching it.
Probably
At the house?
Yeah. That was hard. That was like, it was almost surreal because I couldn't believe it outside of reading Oakland on the floor and seeing this is actually going down in our arena because the Warriors almost felt like a minor league team
At the time, yeah.
and I was like, wow, we really part of the league. You know what I mean? This is a big deal.
Yeah, star-studded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a different perspective about that. We never had that was star-studded in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were really, at the time, we really didn't understand the magnitude and like what it really meant to the culture and, the history of the NBA at the time. Basketball at that time really wasn't the focus, you know what I'm saying? You were still like the let up of baseball and
Focus?
No,
Or-
I'm just saying the focus that was going on in Bay Area, like newspapers and like the sports.
It's definitely not.
You know what I'm saying?
The
They were
Warriors
still
are
on
not
the
what
Niners.
they are today.
The focus was the Niners, the Giants.
Yeah, no, they
At
were
that
the
time-
bottom.
At that time,
No, they were the bottom of the total.
exactly.
Sorry.
So early 2000s and late 90s, the focus in Bay Area was the Niners or the Giants. You know what I'm saying? Specifically because
the A's was
the
good,
A's were
but-
really on the tail end because you had the injuries. You know what I'm saying? McGuire was injured. Canseco was gone. You know what I'm saying? You had In-N-Out Rubens here. You know what I'm saying? It was just like a real
after
transient point in
91,
time.
Yeah, and after
You know what
like
I'm saying?
91, it did kind of
So-
fall
So
down.
you feel like you weren't like
We
you
really
know
didn't
what to-
understand
Yeah, okay.
the magnitude of the
what was
moment.
happening. Yeah.
That's why I said it was kind of
You know what I'm
surreal.
saying? Yeah.
Because it's like we used to watching all these events at other places, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, damn. It just felt big for Oakland to be included with something like that.
I agree. But also, to your point, I can imagine how a nigga felt like in 85 in Chicago watching Dominique and Michael Jordan didn't really understand how big this really was. You know what I'm saying? Man, them niggas that nigga flew from the free throw line.
So that's the thing. I
You know what I'm
think
saying? And
that-
it really didn't understand the magnitude of it.
I think that dunk, specifically the arm in the rim, grew in lore like over the years after the fact. Because
That's true.
Especially after the dunk contest started going down in quality, you
Like-
started to think about the good old days.
People
Like,
didn't even
Nah, but that's
comprehend
one-
what
but
they
the-
seen at the time.
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It happened so fast the way he did it, and and then you had to wait till after.
Watch
Did
the
that fool
replay.
just stick his head in the rim? Because it's like you couldn't.
And then
when he
also-
did, it's like you didn't even comprehend the whole thing. And then
He already hit the reverse
I was about to
360
say,
windmill.
that was the best dunk I ever seen in my life.
Like, you
So
already
the
did all
one
that.
right before that was crazy.
yeah.
Exactly.
It was iconic just because it's just like, up until that point, besides what you mentioned, Jordan and Dominique, that was like the signature dunk contest of all time.
That dunk contest was hands down
he was an
probably
alien.
the best ever.
What, in 2000?
Yeah.
It's one of them up until like
I put him in that top
Aaron
5 for
Gordon
sure.
and Levine.
That was a good one.
Jason Richardson, those dunk contests meant
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
to
yeah,
us too
yeah.
because he
Should've
came
won
with
3
the
in a row.
reverse. Should have won 3 in a row. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that reverse between the legs, it was like, damn, bro, what
Yeah,
is you on right now?
That was like one of the first ones where I was like, that's a video game. Like I've done that in a video game. You know what I'm saying?
And he hit you
But,
with the Vince Carter pose.
Shout out Jay Rich.
Yeah,
he held it down. And
for sure.
And he embraced the city and the city embraced him.
Mm-hmm.
He really, I remember when he retired. Oh, wait.
He got traded to the
I remember when he
Suns.
left the Warriors, man. He took out a full page ad in Oakland Tribune thanking the fans for their support and everything. So he's
definitely a fan.
Yeah, he always felt really connected with the fans.
maybe that's actually a good place to transition to, because obviously we're doing part 2 right now of Oakland is a professional sports desert. In part 1, we ran through the history, 6-decade history of all 3 teams leading up to where we are now. But we thought we would kick off this episode. We got a few things planned, but one of the things we wanted to do is just touch on anything that we feel like we left out of the last one. So one of the things was definitely Jason Richardson and his tenure or his legacy with the Warriors. I feel like personally, I remember him as he was like the rock during a real lean stretch of Warrior basketball. There were some good, fun teams that didn't really go anywhere, but he was like the one who stayed and the one who was like the thing that we had.
He was definitely the fan
after
favorite.
the dunk contest, exactly.
Yeah.
It was like he was our guy.
He was a borderline star.
He
right?
was a star.
And so we're like, damn, like we're not used to it's been a while. Not to say we're not used to it,
he
but
was
it
an
had been a
all-star.
while at that time.
He should have been a multiple-time All-Star with the Warriors. We were just so bad at that time.
I want to say, was he an all-star?
I don't
know if he was an
remember. I
all-star.
don't think he
I don't
was.
think he was.
He had that talent, and he put up those numbers. It just
And then also,
couple that with the winning.
not to cut you off, but the West was flooded with guard play at that time. So it was.
Yeah. No. So, yeah, that's why I say he was a borderline star. Like, he was capable, but it's like the list of people that you had to say, he wasn't going to bump nobody off that list to be an all-star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he was an above-average player. And from that stretch from the end of Run TMC, man, it was all bad. Man, we were clinging on to whatever we could.
Yeah.
And he was winning dunk contests. He was a crazy athlete, jumping out the gym. So at least we could get behind that. And
Yeah, man, that team, we spoke about it, but him, Gilbert, man, love Gilbert. Afro Gilbert on the Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Troy Murphy, Dunleavy. Man, that was a nice core, but it just didn't come with winning.
yeah.
A lot of left on the bone with that team.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was happy. I was happy that he.
Like, we had hella hope, but
We did.
But Jay Rich,
That's
made
the
it through.
delusion of a Bay Area sports fan right there. You know what
at
I'm
that
saying?
point,
it's like
at that
you're
point
on
of
the
the game,
team,
yeah.
you can win a
Now,
championship.
These new Bay Area sports fans, or at least especially Warriors fans, it's different. But for us then, yeah, that's how we was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I was happy that he got to see that he was a part of We Believe. You know what I'm saying?
He was a
Because
player,
I feel like
even though
that
he
was,
didn't have the best series.
With that stretch?
Excuse me, but
yeah, but
No, but
was
he
happy to
deserved to be a
he
part
was
of it,
that
though.
he
team.
definitely did.
You know
He
what I'm
definitely
saying?
did.
He
'Cause
deserved
I
to be a
think
part
when
of
was
it.
he was traded like a couple years after, I want to say.
Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't long after that. And one thing I'll say real quick about Jay Rich is that you could tell he really cares. Some athletes, they in it for the bag. Some dudes is just super athletic. Jay Rich really cared, and he really wanted to. He felt like a kind of indebted to the fans. Like he was like, I want to turn this around. I really believe, and he really worked on his game. He wasn't that much of a shooter when he first got into the league. When he left the Warriors, he was a decent 3-point shooter. So he worked a lot on his game, and he came a long way.
He was a dog.
He was.
He's a
I ain't got
dog.
nothing bad to say about Jay Rich.
Michigan
but
State, you know what I'm
it just
saying?
didn't. Yeah, he was just a little early. If he could have got with Steph, because he was a hard worker.
Man.
Jay
That'd
Rich
have
was a
been
hard
nasty.
worker. If he could have been around Steph, then
That'd have been
that would have been good. But nothing bad to say about him. It's
shout
just
out to Jay Rich.
he was a almost all-star.
He's an all-star in our hearts.
He's all-star in my books.
Fan favorite. He's still in the big three, still balling, still moving
So-
around, man.
Straight up.
Keeping it with the Dubs, we didn't really talk about Mark Jackson specifically. And his tenure and
Let's
sort of
get
his,
to it.
Deacon.
the Mark Jackson.
Let's
So,
get to it.
I'll give maybe I'll give a little bit of my opinion
Go
first.
ahead,
So,
man. Kick it
Go
off.
for it, bro.
Yeah.
I have a lot of appreciation for Mark Jackson. And you can't, I guess you can't talk about that without also mentioning sort of Lacob coming in. And that, to me, the Lacob purchase was kind of like the beginning of the things beginning to transition, whatever.
Was that, did Lacob and them hire Mark Jackson? Or Mark Jackson was before Lacob?
I believe Lacob hired him, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was his first hire.
Okay.
The biggest thing about, or what I felt like Mark Jackson brought, was he instilled a defensive culture with the team, right? To the point that I remember being in New York. I remember when we lost to the Clippers in 2013, Game 7. I think I was watching at a bar, and I remember being pissed. And I think I called my dad, and we were catching up after. And I was just like, man, I hope they don't fire Mark Jackson. And we were talking about it, and I was like, whoever they bring in, because I don't know if Steve Kerr had been floated yet, because I think he had an offer from the Knicks that he turned down. So I don't even know if he was on the table yet. But I remember
Stan Van Gundy.
So I remember just being like, whoever they're going to bring in, we might get an uptick in the offense, but there's no way, like, I feel like the defense is gonna fall out. You know what I'm saying? And that's, to me, what was like making us now a relevant team. I talked about this like in the last episode about him giving Clay and Steph confidence, which I think was super important.
For sure.
But he also, I think, showed the franchise and the fan base a different way of being competitive in the NBA, of relying on your defense to sort of keep you in games. So now, if you're shooting the lights out, you're definitely going to win. But if you're not, you still have a chance to win. And I think instilling that mindset in the players allowed them to maintain that even after he was gone. And obviously, that's not taking anything away from what Kerr did when he came in, because I think him and Ron Adams and everything, like they took it to the next level. But I think it was really important at that point in time in the Warriors franchise, because it was still lean years when Lacob got the team, when Mark Jackson was hired. Yes, we had Steph, and then we started drafting a little bit better. We got Clay. We were starting to assemble the pieces. But I think that was, to me, he was a big part of the beginning of the turnaround.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
No, that's an excellent point. Mark Jackson is definitely the architect of the championship run, the modern championship run for the Golden State Warriors. There's no question about that. Defense-wise, absolutely, totally agree. But in my opinion, I believe the confidence that he instilled in the backcourt with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson together, that was probably the most important thing. Because if you understand the history of the NBA, you're not shooting a three-pointer just off the rip. They changed the game. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The three-pointer was looked at as the tired man's shot or the last resort. You know what I'm saying? And they made it a vital point in the offense. No, you got to look out for this. We got shooters. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really get the credit he deserves. I'm one of those people who've been like, man, he should have never got fired. But it is what it is. Hopefully he gets another coaching job somewhere else, you know what I'm saying, to prove my opinion right. I'm just going to keep it playing.
For sure. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened that, let's just give Mark Jackson his props, because he for sure laid the foundation. He changed the mindset for not only the players and like the culture, but like for the fan base. It was just like he instilled like hard work, defense, and just the expectation. He just raised the bar. And so he just empowered the players a lot. So he does get credit for a lot of stuff. And initially when he was fired, I was disappointed because I didn't really know the direction in which we were going at that point. You have Steve Kerr, and it's just like, I was always a Steve Kerr fan, just going back to Chicago Bulls.
Like as a player?
As a player,
right.
And then I liked him as a GM in Phoenix. He was a cool broadcaster, but it was like, you never coached, bro. And so, like, that was my concern, because that foundation had already been built. Like, the first couple of years when we started winning, like, especially the first championship and then the 73-9 season, I feel like Steve Kerr did a good job of giving Mark Jackson his credit for laying that foundation, which he deserves. But, yeah, Steve Kerr came in and just took it to another level, but Mark Jackson deserves a lot of credit for pointing the Warriors in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mark Jackson, he was the beginning to the modern day, or the championship Warriors. But I think what he really brought was like validity, because even though we had Don Nelson before that, and it was like, but they had the We Believe run, and then that kind of like really peaked out. Like that was the peak of that Don Nelson run, and it just went downhill after that. And so it was like, here we go again, same old Warriors. Next season, Steven Jackson, he's demanding a trade and all this stuff. It's like, what just happened, right? And so it's like, damn, we're back to, we suck again, right? And so by bringing in Mark Jackson, that brought like some validity because he was a well-respected person around the league. He knew his stuff, and he was a good player. And so this was somebody that we could trust. We were getting all these coaches that like we didn't really know and stuff like that. And so like we're probably more than a casual fan or whatever, but we didn't know all these coaches that were coming up. We never heard of these dudes.
Eric Musselman.
Hey, but in hindsight, Musselman
all
was
these
a good
dudes,
coach.
they were good coaches.
Yeah.
But we didn't really know him like that. And so it wasn't like, it's like bringing in Pat Riley or somebody like that, like with a big name that's known, right? So so Mark Jackson was unproven, but he was a big name, and I felt like he brought some validity. And so when he told them, keep shooting, and he said, well, you guys are the best shooting backcourt of all time, and all of that. I think it was some of that was hyperbole, but then it was also like he's in practice. Damn, I never seen nobody shoot like this before. Put that battery in their back.
Yeah, go ahead and just put that out there on the floor.
Yeah. Long story short, I feel like he brought some validity as far as with the franchise because we're some like not respected. It's a not respected franchise.
Not a destination. Not a destination team.
Steph was getting an ankle injured. Clay was trying to find himself.
He couldn't dribble.
Didn't know. Clay really couldn't dribble. We didn't know what was going on. But
you got David Lee from the Knicks. He was
David Lee. That was our star player, and he was doing his thing.
He was raw.
But we didn't know he was a throwaway. The Knicks thought they were just throwing something away, but
he was not a throwaway.
Other way.
But that way they didn't trade for. He was a free agent when they got him.
We traded Anthony Randolph. We traded Anthony Randolph.
Right. That's one of their best trades they ever made.
Listen, I'm not like David Lee was amazing for the Warriors.
Yeah, he was that.
I'm not like sitting here acting like David Lee. Like David Lee is like one of my favorite basketball players. And dexterous.
While we're on David, I got a funny David Lee story. Back in I think this might have been a 73 and no, this was the 2014-15 season. Because this was the season. So you remember KD he messed up his foot and he was out and then he came back.
Frank.
Yeah, exactly. So the season he came back, I think it was the 2014-15 season. I happened to be coming back home to visit, and I got really good seats. It was me, my now wife, I think she might have been my fiance at the time, maybe just a girlfriend, and my dad. So this is at Oracle, but we were sitting literally behind the players' bench, right? So I'm sitting behind, like the seat behind David Lee. Now, this is gonna sound crazy, but the tickets were not that expensive. Like they were expensive, but now playoff seats in the 200 section go for more at Chase Center, right? These were not crazy expensive. And so I saw them and I was like, this is expensive, but also this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity to sit almost courtside. So I'm sitting behind David Lee. I talked to him a little bit like during the game, but I remember people started texting my girl. And they were like, "Are you at the Warriors?" Because where we were sitting, like she was coming out on whatever TNT or ESPN, whatever we were on. But I'm sitting behind David Lee, so you couldn't see me. It looked like she's sitting next to David Lee. So she's getting all these texts like, "Are you at the Warriors game?" Blah blah blah. And she's like, "What? Yeah, blah blah blah." But anyways, that was funny to me.
Last thing about Mark Jackson is everybody gave him some nice little things, and to summarize everything, it was good, and I appreciate what he did here, but I can't mention him without mentioning some of his flaws, man, because when I see how they was coming up, like that team was really out of nowhere, and it really seemed like once they started to blow up, he wanted the spotlight more. He wanted to be in the spotlight more than the team. He wanted that thing to be all about him, and I think that was a big problem. That's how he really fell off. And for everybody that say, I hope he get a job, this and that. If he was going to get a job, he would have got one by now.
There's a reason why he doesn't
The NBA
have
don't wait, don't give you no 10-year grace period. Say, hey, do you want to come back and coach again?
Sir?
So
I'm not going to speak.
It's a lot of reasons. It was a lot of reasons. But like I said, he wanted to be the star of the show. And When we got Kerr and we let Curry really be the star of the show, we won the chip.
Man, Curry was the star of the show. He just didn't.
No, so Mark Jackson was the star of that show.
One thing I'll say about that, because
I disagree.
I think the one thing that I noticed about Kerr when he came in, like his staff was legit.
Top
you know
notch.
like,
Loaded.
He was like, oh, I might not be a defensive guru, but Ron Adams is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And all of our offensive coaches,
Brown.
whether it was Gentry, whether it was Mike Brown, like he was trying to surround himself with talent that could
Steve
elevate
Kerr's
the team.
coaching staff was like the Yankees lineup, bro.
And Mark Jackson didn't want anybody to challenge him. In that coaching staff, Steve Young wanted to be the dumbest person in the room. He wanted to be uplifted by his staff.
Right.
Mark Jackson wanted to be the head of the staff, and he wanted to talk down to everybody else.
I disagree.
That's just what he did.
Were you in the practice?
But why?
I'm just
The
saying.
dude.
Mark Jackson did a lot for us, man, but he had his flaws for sure.
Because the thing about it is, what you're saying is the opinion of people that really don't f with Mark Jackson, but the people that f with Mark Jackson are saying the total opposite.
Okay, I don't f with Mark Jackson, so that's my opinion. You f with Mark Jackson since y'all buddy.
I don't even know the
since
nigga.
y'all just so
I'm
good
just saying,
friends. And that's your opinion.
Mark Jackson, from an offensive standpoint, he did have that mentality. Like, if one play worked, we're going to run it 7 times until it didn't work.
Hey,
Right, let's throw it into the post. And then Steve Kerr came in, implemented the motion offense, and the offense wasn't as stagnant. And it really unlocked the skill set of, like, the personnel that we had. Yeah. And that, I'm pretty sure that's a big reason that contributes to Mark Jackson not having a job, too.
I think Judah put it nicely. I think he was an important figure in our history. Definitely an important figure in the beginning of the championship.
Building to what we became.
Exactly. Yeah. But he wasn't without his flaws. And that's the legacy I think that he leaves. I think you're right. For whatever the reasons are behind him, I don't know if I'll go as far as to say he's been blackballed from the league, but like there's definitely been an opportunity for him to be hired, whether it be the Lakers job or different jobs that have cropped up. And he's been passed over. And I think that has to do with basically what people have heard about him from his Warriors tenure, fair or not. That's just, but we don't, as outsiders, we don't know all the details. But
exactly.
That's sort of,
from what I've seen, the worst transgression that Mark Jackson committed to the Golden State Warriors franchise is having his wife singing the national anthem. That was atrocious.
Thanks for sharing, bro.
You're welcome.
All right, let's keep it moving. Anything, let's see, rounding up the stuff that we missed, we talked a lot about the Warriors. Anything that anybody wants to touch on for any of the franchises, Raiders, A's, anything that we passed over?
They all gone.
No, one thing that we did pass over, you guys were making an argument about getting KD or adding a championship to that 73-9 season. I just want to mention that once we got KD, from our first championship to when KD left, we won the most games in a 5-season span in NBA history. And that wouldn't have happened without KD.
Yeah, no, all due respect to that era, that run, really it was just 3 years with KD. Mm-hmm. But just thinking back on what could have been if they win a championship with that 73-9, it's just to be able to say this was the greatest team of all time. And even if we still may feel that, but you're never going to win that argument.
Yeah, for sure. And then my other point is, okay, say we win a championship on that 73-9 team.
I don't need no more.
But
I got 2.
Everybody in the sports world loves to play this game. Like, let's put this team up against the 96 Bulls or the 01 Lakers. Those Warriors are getting smacked. You from that 73-9 team? With KD, you could put that team up against any team in history and be like, bro, we running these niggas.
Can you imagine if New England would have won the Super Bowl when they went undefeated? We would still talk about that as the greatest team ever.
They'd be up there. Then the debate would be them or Miami. Because then it's all hypotheticals, and that's the beauty of sports.
That is. But that team was loaded.
Well, yes, we know, but still.
The Miami team was loaded. They was loaded too, but they was on powder cocaine. They was loaded on cocaine. Marcus Morris was taking a couple grams before he ran the ball. That's a fact.
There was a dude in my fantasy league that year who had Brady and
Florida
Randy Moss. He was just.
You said what? Oh, in fantasy.
In fantasy,
He won.
was
Oh,
in my league who
they
had-
went ridiculous that year.
Yeah.
They went crazy that year.
Yeah,
remember
Moss,
that.
Brady had over 50 touchdowns. Moss had over 20, 21,
Yeah,
22.
I don't know. For me, just as far as legacy stuff goes, that would have been to win it, to go 73-9. There are certain things in sports that you think will never be broken. There's certain records you think that will never be broken. For a long time, I thought 72-10
That's
would
fair.
never be
Yeah,
broken.
for sure. That's fair.
Yeah.
One other thing I just want to say is that 2019 team to me with DeMarcus Cousins, that was my favorite team. I think that's the most talented team
That
I ever seen, bro. I'm not
That
gonna
is a
lie.
hot
Lost
take.
to Toronto.
That's a hot take. The one that lost to Toronto, bro.
No, if they stayed healthy, that team was the
They
truth.
was going to win a championship.
That was
and
that
they-
was
definitely
that was
would've
the
won.
Warriors on steroids, bro.
It was.
That was
Because-
overkill.
Yeah.
It was just like everybody, come on, just jump. It was that.
Yeah, it
That's
was
what
like,
really
Boogie?
killed the
Oh, yeah,
dynasty
right.
of the Warriors, bro.
If they would have lost Clay or KD, they
What?
still would have won. They
still
lost
would've
both.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get to a couple activities that we think will be fun. All right, we're back, and got a couple things we wanted to get into. So the first one is I want to try to see if we could put together a Mount Rushmore for each of the franchises for their tenure in Oakland, for our timeline, our generation, right?
So 1980 and up.
Yeah, more or less. But also like that you would consider like you witnessed them, you know what I'm saying? So if the Stabler won with the Raiders in 80, but like
Pretty sure
Ray
you didn't
was
see
3
that
months or
shit.
whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I wasn't even here. I was
So
born, I was
90
born in
and
June.
Well, there we go, exactly.
I was a June baby.
Yeah, so I guess for those who didn't catch the Mount Rushmore piece, we're basically trying to pick top 4. You know what I'm saying? If we had to make a Mount Rushmore with 4 players from each franchise, who would be on it? Where do you guys want to start?
Let's go Raiders.
Raiders?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's start throwing out
Charles
names.
Woodson. Charles
Raiders, you
Woodson
gotta
for sure.
you gotta put C Wood on there.
Yeah, for our era.
I think
Charles
that's
Woodson.
unimpeachable. I think he's
Yeah,
got to
You
be
gotta
there.
put C Wood
Yep.
up there.
Okay. Do we say Gannon?
Rich Gannon.
I gotta
for
put
sure.
Gannon on there.
Gannon's on mine. I already
Best
talked
five
about
best
him.
Passing
Raider.
yards for sure. He got to get
Best
up there
Raider quarterback I
for
ever
our
seen.
era. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so that's 2 we got. But hold on, because Marcus, you're making a face. I'm sorry, Marky Mark, you're making a face.
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, you know.
Oh, what you got to say? Let it be known.
He wanted
He's a Jeff
MVP.
Garcia
Yeah,
fan.
he
He
wanted
was a freaking MVP.
He wanted all MVPs aren't created equal, my guy.
Yeah, but for the Raiders, they're
Yeah, for
few
the
and far
Raiders.
between.
Yeah, he's on Mount Rushmore.
So for the
He said on
record,
the Raiders Mount Rushmore,
Yeah.
but
No,
he
yeah.
said, but it's no right or wrong. Who's on yours?
Bo Jackson.
Okay, I didn't get it. I didn't really see him.
okay, and also he was also in Los Angeles.
So hold on a second.
Astringent about this being
actually,
an
was
Oakland
he? Was
sport.
he
never played in Oakland,
I was
I don't
gonna
think.
say yeah. So
Bo
that,
Jackson
I feel
never
like
played
that
in
might
Oakland.
disqualify him. But I appreciate he gets an honorable mention.
As far as Raider Nation, we love Bo.
Bo
We're talking about
knows
Oakland
Skid
sports.
Row.
And for the record, you know what I'm saying? Oakland Raiders came back in 1995. Originally, in our era, we are San Francisco Niner fans because we came up watching them winning everything.
Okay, put Tim Brown on there.
I was gonna
Thank
say,
you.
so Tim
Yeah,
Brown's
gotta
got to
put
be there.
Tim
Right?
Brown.
Like he was like the.
He was the second
sure.
player to reach 1,000 receptions behind Jerry Rice. Or did Chris Carter got there before him?
I don't know, but he was a Hall of Famer with only one quarterback.
That's what I was.
He became Hall. He had Rich Gannon those 2 or 3 years,
The great Rich Gannon.
and he was great.
Mount Rushmore, Rich Gannon.
Yeah, that part. And but yeah, Tim Brown hands down. 'Cause
Okay, so hold on. So we got
We got
Woodson.
3.
We got Woodson. Did we say Gannon? We said
Yeah.
Gannon.
Yep.
Okay, begrudgingly. You know.
Woodson, Gannon, Tim Brown.
Tim Brown.
Barnes
Okay,
said
so
that,
who's
huh?
getting the 4th spot then?
Robert
That's
Gallery.
tough. It's been a lot of good players, but a lot of them are
Niner fans
transplants.
talking
So
that
I want to
bullshit.
find somebody
Right,
that was really. They made their name as a Raider because you could go like Romanowski.
Napoleon Kaufman.
Napoleon
I mean,
Kaufman's a
Kaufman
good
was
one.
solid.
Yeah.
I
Tyrone
think
Lee.
Wheatley over Kaufman.
Yeah,
I
I was
wouldn't.
gonna say.
I would not.
Everybody loves
I
Zach
would not.
Crockett, but we're talking about Mount Rushmore though. But
I guess Jerry Porter.
Even though, I mean, go
What about Kirk
back
Morrison?
and look at Napoleon Kaufman's
Morrison is a
numbers.
local guy, but he wasn't that great of a player. Like he was good. He really wasn't that good.
oh,
Go look at Napoleon Kaufman numbers.
Nnamdi
man.
Asomugha.
Go look at
Nnamdi.
Napoleon's numbers, bro.
Nnamdi.
Hold on.
Let's go. Give it to
Nnamdi Asomugha spent his whole career not being threatened because he was the only threat.
What about when he had 8 interceptions, bro? He was snatching.
And what happened the year after that?
They stopped throwing it.
Because they didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? It was a left cornerback and then a left quarterback, and that was it.
Nnamdi traveled, bro.
You throw to Philip Buchanan, and then you
traveled.
throw to, who else was it? You know what I'm saying? Who else?
Well,
was
who
on
would
the
you
other side?
nominate then? If to replace
I
him?
wouldn't put Nnamdi Asomugha.
But I'm saying, but that's not what I asked you though. Who would you nominate?
As far as, I mean, for number
spot.
4?
Yeah, for the 4th spot on Mount Rushmore.
So what about Bill Romanowski?
He's more of a Niner and a Bronco to me. I specifically thought about Romo when I was saying, like, you know what? He's more of a, in my eyes, like when I was saying, I don't want to pick a player that really made their name for themselves with another team. So Romanowski was a Hall of Famer, probably without playing for the Raiders. And so shout out to Romo. I got all
respect for the Oakland Raiders, bro.
I got all respect for the Raiders, for Romanowski. Yeah, I got hella respect for Romanowski, but I just don't see him just as a Raider. When I see Romanowski, I see him as really a Bronco, but also a Niner. When he goes to the Hall of Fame, he's not going as a Raider, period.
He's probably going in as a Niner, bro.
I doubt it. He probably is going in as a Raider.
There's no way in hell he's going as a Raider.
That's his third
He
option
won
for
Super
sure.
Bowls with San Francisco and Denver. He lost Super Bowl with the Raiders. He only played for how many years? 2 years or 3 years with the Raiders? Hell no, he's not going in as a Raider.
I think
Nnamdi's solid, but it can be.
It's the Raiders. Jet.
It can be left to
fast ass, no hand having.
Why don't we leave that up to some people in the comments, man? Who should be the fourth Raider?
We're really spending too much time on the Raiders. They ain't even in the town no more, man. Next team, man.
Let's go A's. Let's go A's.
Let's go A's.
A's, you know it's Ricky.
Ricky.
Then McGuire.
For sure.
Canseco.
So I got to the same place
close.
myself. So who's the
I gotta
4th,
give
right?
it up to Canseco.
It
give
is
it to
Eric
Stewart.
Chavez.
No,
Eric Chavez chose to stay, and he won 6 or 7 Gold Gloves on the road.
How many playoff games did he win?
He won a lot.
That nigga couldn't hit no curveball, man.
Hey,
What the f*** you mean he didn't win a lot?
no, I said how many playoff games did he win?
Giambi over Chavez.
Like, I don't understand. As a
that's
pitcher or just on a team?
He wasn't a pitcher. I'm just saying as a player. But anyway, no, shout out Eric Chavez. I like Eric Chavez, man. And it's subjective, so there's no right or wrong answer.
So with those consensus 3 is McGuire, Canseco, and Henderson. Like, for sure, we all agree on those 3?
Yep.
Yeah, it gotta be.
And Glenn Kuiper.
Can Barry Zito get some love?
Barry Zito could for
Zito
sure
was
get some
solid.
love.
No, he is
But he wasn't no Dave Stewart, bro.
He was not Dave
That's
Stewart.
true. And Dave Stewart won a World Series. So.
He did.
Man, put Carney Lansford up there, Terry Steinbach, some real fan favorites.
Those are good
bro.
names, but
Yeah,
they might be a
those are
little before.
But those are real champions. Like
I agree. So
I
it's
remember
tough.
Carney Lansford, Terry Steinbach, Mike Gallego, Walt Weiss. The team, bro. I remember.
Eckersley?
Rick Honeycutt.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Eckersley, he didn't spend his whole career. He came to the A's, though, right?
Yeah. He was with the Cubs and the
But see,
Red
the
Sox.
thing is, he was a starter.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he became a closer.
A's
And
made
then
him a
relief
closer,
pitching
bro.
was like, you know what I'm
They
saying?
didn't really have they didn't have closers like that.
Exactly.
You didn't come in to nail down the ninth.
Saves wasn't even a
in eighth
category.
and like that. It was 2 inning saves.
Yeah.
But
So who's the 4th?
that's a tough one, man. I think Giambi is valid. I could agree with Giambi.
So you got Ricky Henderson.
Canseco, McGuire, the Bash brothers.
Because Tejada was
Ricky
one of my favorite players.
Man,
too.
Tejada was
Canseco,
one
man,
of
you
my
gotta
favorite
take
players,
Canseco
too.
out. He snitched, man. He baseball up.
Or he made it
Just let it
better.
be known. Like, Canseco,
It's just whatever opinion you have.
I'm pro steroid baseball, bro.
All right, so is that our 4? Ricky, Canseco, McGuire. Was it Giambi?
Giambi.
All right.
I'm good with that.
Giambi makes
Yeah,
sense.
if you're listening and you disagree, go ahead and let us know.
Shout out to David Stewart, man. Honorable mention.
Yeah, man. Anybody want to take Canseco out with me, let me know.
All right,
Wasn't Canseco the first 40-40 guy? What the f*** are we doing?
Facts. Did that? What team did he do that for?
It was
believe
dirty.
Oakland Athletics.
All right, let's see. We did the Raiders. We did the A's. We got the Warriors now. Mount Rushmore for the Warriors. Who wants to start?
That is
start throwing
difficult. That is very difficult.
No,
Obviously,
it all
Steph-
starts with Steph.
Yeah, Steph.
Mount
Steph.
Rushmore.
All right,
and
so-
three more, whoever the fuck you want to pick.
No, it don't
all
start
right,
with
so-
him.
Hell yeah, in our era, we're not
in
talking
our era?
about
Oh, okay.
not all timers.
But I
We're not talking about the
mean,
all timers.
But also, even
But
if it
also
was
all time,
all-timers,
he's still
Still the
number one.
greatest out of all of them. Yeah, it does start with Steph. Thank you.
But
We're like,
no,
don't
you know.
forget Rick Barry.
Don't forget Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, so Steph is there.
Yeah,
Who else is there?
Clay.
Clay's there.
I mean,
It's like,
Clay- I
damn,
feel
you gotta go
Clay's gotta
Steph,
be
Clay,
there.
and Dre.
And
You gotta
Dre,
go.
right?
You gotta Clay and Dre.
So that was my problem, is because I
And
feel
K-
like three of the
and KD.
spots are
Right. So look.
All right, so yeah, you want to? Because
Nah, I'm just joking. I'm joking with
I got
KD.
a couple too that I can throw out, right? So,
Right.
do you put Iguodala as the fourth?
No,
That's the
Okay,
Close,
the Warriors.
close.
The Warriors is the most difficult team because of Run TMC, right? Because we already mentioned Jay Rich.
that's what I was gonna say.
Monte
For me, it was like,
Ellis,
is it
Monte.
Iggy? Is it Jay Rich?
It's tight. That's tough.
Okay, so to simplify this argument, like, what's the criteria? Are we going off just championships or just individual hoop play?
No. So
Just the
no,
greatest players.
Yeah, so it's a good question, right? It's Mount Rushmore. Who would, if you wanted to put
To tell the
four
story.
players on a mountain to be like, yo, these were those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would you put there?
Larry Hughes, Ike Diagu, Andres Biedrins, and Troy Murphy.
That's your all copper team.
That's my all sports channel team.
So none of those players obviously make the Mount Rushmore. So
No,
I
but
think
you
we
had-
go Steph, Clay,
I'm not
and
gonna.
Dre.
I'm not gonna do Tim Hardaway like that.
I was gonna say Tim.
I'm not gonna do Mitch Richmond
But how
like
long
that.
was-
I
how long
only
was-
picked three people. There's four, all right. And I think with all due respect
But
to
you picked-
everybody who's ever played for the Warriors, none of them have accomplished what Steph, Clay, and Dre have.
But-
So that's just a fact.
Iggy has.
Iggy did, but Iggy came
off
from
the
somewhere
bench.
else.
And if we're
So
thinking,
that's true.
well,
Iggy was like he was a first round draft pick and all that stuff from another team. Iggy was AI with after Allen Iverson.
baby AI.
Yeah, but he took over that team after Iverson retired. So he's been a number one like star on a team before.
Shit, he was the number one in Denver.
So he came in as a mercenary, right? So I don't know. If somebody want to put Iggy on there, I get it, and it's all respect to Iggy. I think for me, I would choose somebody that's a little more like his thing is only with his legacy
guess-
is more
well,
only
so-
with the Warriors.
Yeah, man. So I would want to put KD up on there. Obviously, he only spent a few years with us, so
Yeah.
despite everything that he did for us, there's more people that spent more of a majority of their career with us.
Would he be your nomination for a fourth?
He would be my nomination, but I'm gonna, man. Like we didn't say Baron Davis. There's a lot of players.
Yeah,
so
man, that's all right.
I'm just gonna say Jason Richardson. We were already talking about him. He
That's
spent
good.
he spent the majority of his career with us.
Exactly.
He won 2 dunk contests. Should
Can
have
we
been
go
3.
1A, 1B with Jason Richardson and Monte Ellis?
Oh my God, blood.
You feel me? I'm just on some fan
I'm not
favorite
putting
shit.
Monte on no Mount Rushmore, bro.
But
Y'all was niggas about to put Kevin Durant
I put
on there.
Monte on a
I
Mount
understand it's a
Rushmore
Mount
scoring
Rushmore,
17
but you ain't
points.
putting no vigilantes up there, even though Mount Rushmore historically is nothing but 4 vigilantes. But
Sure, but we just mean the top 4. Don't get too deep into you're right, but we just
But
talking about the top
still,
4, bro. Like,
goddamn,
So are we saying Jay Rich?
I ain't mad at Jay Rich.
Jay Rich slash Monte.
Jay Rich.
We'll make it work.
Hey, Monte,
Slash-
who
slash
said
Mon-
he
Jay
couldn't
Rich
play
slash Monte.
with the greatest point guard of all time.
Yeah.
we
He's
can't
on-
play
he's
together.
up there.
Okay,
Yep.
we about to get rid of your ass.
Yep.
Hey, you right.
Same
Monte was
Monte.
right the whole
The
time.
same one.
That nigga was right. They said we
Same
couldn't play
one.
together. You right. Let's get rid of your ass.
Same
and
one.
next time we start winning championships.
Same one. It was
Thank
like
you,
this with the
Monte.
lunch lady. Like,
Hey, who knew?
I got something to show you.
Who knew you was
Yeah.
such a? You could see the future.
hey man,
But still, there's no shade at Monte. He was a good warrior until Steph came. Then he wasn't.
oh yeah.
Then he started tweaking, man. No, Monte started wilding out, bro. He was sending pics and everything to the staff. Remember, it was a girl on the staff.
Yeah, it was the lunch lady.
He started wilding, bro. He did.
It was the lunch
He
lady.
did, bro. Steph just made him lose his mind, bro. He didn't know what to do. He did mean a lot to the Warriors before Steph came. He definitely did.
He was the Warriors, bro.
Yeah,
He was like he was kind of like the future until the future arrived. But it was like for a couple years, it was like, oh, this guy is like, His mid-range game was
He was the
nasty.
bridge between we believe
That's true.
and strength in numbers.
That's
like,
true.
He really was. Like those Monte years, they made Warriors basketball
Fun to
entertaining
watch.
and fun to watch.
Yeah,
That nigga
because
was fast.
with that context though is that we weren't used to having raw players, right? So we would always be trying to find
just
somebody
cling
out
on
of
to
nowhere,
somebody.
right? And so we like, oh, we're gonna develop it. Oh, we got another one. Oh, this
Yeah,
is one.
but
We got a diamond in the rough.
in
and all that
Monte's case,
stuff.
they did find somebody
And he was
out
a
of
good
nowhere,
player.
though.
He was a good
You know what I'm
player,
saying?
but he wasn't getting no team over the top. Like he wasn't.
Do we think he's on Mount Rushmore?
I will put him on Mount Rushmore.
Over Jay Rich?
No.
I
Okay, so
said
then he's-
1A, 1B, bro.
Nah, but that's
This
not.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
If we got to
It's
pick
gonna
one,
be
it's
like
gonna be
one of
Jay
them
Rich.
half faces. You know
No,
what
we
I'm
gonna
saying?
no. He can just
It's
do
Jay
his,
Rich.
He can do. I say Jay Rich.
Jamonte
And then, hey,
Richardson Ellis.
you know that there's a chamber inside
Jamonte.
Mount Rushmore, right? Did you know
Key and
that?
Peele
I did not
football
know
names.
There's a chamber behind Mount Rushmore, and the guy made it they want to do like a time capsule or whatever, right?
And there's a picture
So-
of Monte Ellis in it.
Spray painted. Spray painted up on the wall.
He do look
We
like
tagged
one
Monte
of the
up.
original.
He's up there.
All right, so the next thing we want to do is rank the Oakland legacies of the three teams. Now, the definition of the Oakland legacy is going to be different to each person, but I think what we're really talking about is you associate that team with Oakland. Maybe nationally you feel like that team is associated with Oakland. I feel like Oakland residents also claim that team. And then maybe additionally that team you felt like claimed Oakland. I mean, maybe some parts of all three of those or all three of those or what have you, but that's kind of like, I think what sort of makes up or what goes towards the Oakland legacy of these three franchises. So,
For sure.
There's only one right answer, too. I'm going to let y'all go first.
All right, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to put them in order. We're trying to come to consensus together.
Okay.
All right, so anybody want to throw out?
Number one is the A's for sure.
Okay.
No question.
Okay. Do we want
Do you want to expand on that, or you want
Yeah,
to, or
please
everybody's just
expand.
gonna say?
I can
they
expand on it.
Please.
They won the most championships in Oakland.
think- Yeah. No, they did.
They
That's
did.
a fact.
They did.
Oh, they won 4.
Yeah.
They went for it.
They won 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I guess tied for the most.
No, because the
The Warriors
fourth
didn't
one
win 4 in Oakland.
No, they did.
They won-
They
they
did. They
did,
won in 75,
75.
and then they won the 3
Yeah.
before they
The
went.
Warriors won
Yep,
4 in
so-
Oakland, too.
Okay.
Yeah, just as far as longevity, they three-peated. Yeah, the biggest rap star at the time was the A's ball boy. There's like a lot of stuff. So that goes to the point of them being like intertwined with the community and stuff like that.
The culture, you feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
So I kind of feel like, and maybe the way to start it is to start from third to first, right? Because I feel like we're probably aligned on number 3, and I'm gonna say the Warriors, right? Which is crazy when you think about it because of how the Warriors this iteration of the Warriors revolutionized basketball to a degree and went on this dynastic run. They did things that hadn't been done in terms of the 5-year wingspan, all that kind of stuff. So to say that they're with like right off the bat, without a doubt, the third one feels weird, but I feel like if you look at that criteria of the team being associated with Oakland, right? I feel like when you're elsewhere and people know you're from Oakland, they think Raiders, they think A's. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
those are the franchises that are kind of more immediately come to
Yeah.
mind.
Casual fans
100%.
didn't even know the Warriors played in Oakland.
Yeah.
So
that's a good
some
point.
some people didn't even know that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Though I would rank the Warriors third out of those 3 teams too.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
You had number 1. Who did you have number 1?
I had the A's.
A's, nigga.
Hold on. So now
So
we're getting to
who
this
do you
shit
have
part. But so if
How do you wanna do
we
it?
agree Warriors are third, right? So then
Raiders and the A's.
So you have Raiders second?
I was agreeing with him. He said the Warriors was last, the A's was first. So the Warriors got the Raiders got to be in the middle.
This man is a savant.
So, but I have a little bit of caveat on mine
so
because
go for it.
I agree with that in order, but I must say that when the Raiders were in Oakland and the Raiders are winning, that is the center of the of attention in Oakland. But I say that I still put Oakland A's first as far as legacies go, because yes, they've had success, they've had throughout the years, they've had ups and downs and everything. But as far as relating to this podcast, the era that we're really focusing on is mid to late 80s to present. And so in those like early 2000s, the A's had a hell of a run, and we really embraced those teams because these were our guys. We weren't getting big free agents, right? And the free agents that we were getting were like those scrappy veterans, so people that may not have worked out at another team and stuff like that, and they would come to Oakland and they would sometimes revive their career. And so to me, I felt that represented like how we were, because we were underdogs. I felt we were underdogs as being from Oakland because they weren't expecting much out of us. We're a small city. They all look at San Francisco first and stuff, right? But Oakland was always making waves. And so I felt that, or I feel that team, the A's, resonates with the city the most. But I have to say that with the caveat that when the Raiders was winning in Oakland, they were the number one.
The Raiders are good for sports in general when they was winning, not just for the city, the NFL.
They were, but I'm saying, but the city got behind them more than they got behind the A's.
What I would say probably is that's kind of like a NFL versus MLB thing, because I think that NFL is just a bigger. It's just the product, right, in our lifetime. It wasn't always like that. Like, baseball used to be America's sport.
I disagree,
or whatever.
because the thing about it is, look at a media market like New York, and you got the Giants who've won championships, and you got the Yankees who've won championships, and who's the bigger team in New York City?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
But New York is not I wouldn't say
That's the
it's a football
exception,
town.
not the rule, though, bro.
I wouldn't say New York is a football town.
Okay, you can do the same thing with the Red Sox.
But
and
I
the
think
Patriots,
that's your point, though.
Or
I think that's your point,
the,
is that
the Eagles.
You know what? I think
and the
those
Phillies.
older East Coast, some of the older East Coast
they're
cities,
baseball for
they're
sure.
baseball. They're more baseball, I would think. But the A's won a World Series. Do you think it was if the A's won a World Series? Do you think, or I should say, lost a World Series, because we didn't see the Raiders win a Super Bowl, right? But the Raiders went to Super Bowl, and y'all know the city went crazy, all the way up through the playoffs and the AFC Championship. After every victory, it was going crazy in the streets, sideshow, party all night. Then when they lost, sideshow, burn the whole city down.
That's why I disagree with y'all.
But I don't think it would be that same passion for the A's.
This is the reason why I disagree.
Definitely.
Because, to A-Trav's point, we weren't really coherent to witness the Raiders' success. We always heard about it, and then when we saw it, they were gone. So we really don't understand the magnitude of it. So therefore, we're prisoners of the moment with what we got going. Niners, A's, Warriors, all that. But if you really look at it, if you just look at the big picture and just like the fan base and everything, and just like how it's set up across the nation, I would say the Raiders are number one, just because off of just national impact alone.
I got a question, and this might step on some of the questions that we have coming up next, but do we think that if we're talking about the A's legacy, right, versus the Raiders, do we think their legacy, their Oakland legacy, is tarnished at all by the way that they left?
Hell yeah, of course.
I think for the A's owner,
I think the A's more than the
not
Raiders.
not the A's the team, but like the A's owner. You feel me? I think if you're just going to go by team, I think the Raiders, their legacy is tarnished more.
Yeah, they left twice.
Yeah.
But they came back.
No, but Al Davis, he wouldn't have left. If he was still alive, he wouldn't have left Oakland again.
The third time, right? For Vegas.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, hell yeah, he would.
Okay.
Al Davis wouldn't have left for Vegas?
That's the reason he left Los Angeles.
He got that shiny new stadium? Oh, he would have been on the first day smoking.
Yeah.
Okay. I disagree. But so the whole thing is, I think that with what's the name of the A's owner? Fisher. John Fisher. Yeah, man, he's like the worst owner in sports, just period. He had an agenda to leave Oakland 20 years ago. You feel me? During the whole Moneyball era. Mark Davis didn't have that desire to leave. The reason why I disagree, just to finish my point, is just I do recall Al Davis, like when he came back, having a certain allegiance to Oakland. So he was more savvy as an owner and as a businessman. And I feel like Mark Davis, from a wealth standpoint relative to the rest of the owners, is like the brokest owner in NFL. So he had to just take that opportunity. And I feel like Al Davis could have finessed me to work it out with Oakland. But it could be wrong.
That's a fair point. And yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, we're gonna get to some of these questions, so I don't want to go too deep on that yet. But if we had to come to a consensus on the order, right? So we said Raiders. I mean, we said Warriors are third. Do we know who's second between Raiders and A's?
What I'm saying is, it's different. For me, the Raiders are an original Oakland team. The Warriors and the Athletics came from out of town.
That's true. That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? So if we're really talking about organic Oakland, you got to put the Raiders number one.
I think if you're listening, you got an opinion, we'll probably post a clip of just this debate of the ranking the legacies. Let us know what you think. And now let's get into some of the questions that we've been wanting to talk about, right? So we've done a lot of reminiscing. We've done a lot of talking about the stuff that we remember from the different eras and different teams. But now we really wanted to talk about the departures, talk about the impact on Oakland, talk about some of our thoughts around sports franchises and the relationships with their surrounding communities. Let's get into that. The first topic I wanted to go to, and I'll just ask this to everybody individually, I guess. Which departure for you hurt the most and why? So I'm gonna start with you, Judah.
For me, it's the A's. For all the stuff that I've been seeing with the Raiders, they've moved before, and so it's like, okay, I get it. I didn't want to. That hurt too. That definitely hurt, but I understood that one. The Warriors, that hurt too, but they didn't move that far, so I was able to swallow that pill. The A's, the thing about the A's is it was just I never thought I would see them leave. I never thought they would leave. They've had horrible seasons, and then they've had some great seasons and all this stuff, but you know, I never thought it would really happen, and so that one definitely hurt me the most.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
It's the Warriors. No question. Just the simple fact that they left on the tail end of a dynasty, which none of us really thought was over because of the circumstances of the injuries and stuff like that, which for those who believe that was proven right with the 2022 title. That one hurt the most. And I mean, again, everybody knows that I'm a Niners fan. I never went back to being a Raiders fan once they came back. So that one didn't have that impact on me. And the same thing with the A's. We spoke about that too. And so while those all hurt, just because it's like I am from Oakland and I do have that Oakland pride, I wish all of the teams have stayed. It is the Warriors just because of what they represented at the time and still how much they have. They still have had a lot of success since going into Chase Center. So, yeah, I would say the Warriors for sure.
The timing of that one was tough, too, I think, because we've endured so many horrible seasons.
Right.
And it's like now you get a taste of success, and then now y'all want to leave.
Yeah.
So that was kind of that was a slap in the face.
For sure. And then so like the other thing about that is just like how they left. It was like, damn, 2019, KD get hurt, Clay get hurt. We lose the championship, and then y'all gone.
Ray, about you?
I'd probably say the Warriors leaving is the most.
Oh, we know it's the Warriors for you, nigga.
Most
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
This nigga turned into a Lakers fan.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to tell you want to carry on? Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's what I
sir.
thought.
Proceed.
So, reason why I say the Warriors was the most just like that one hit hardest because I'm a real basketball fan.
That's your favorite sport out of the three?
Yeah, it's my favorite
Yeah.
sport out of the three. And mind you, let me give y'all a real rundown about California basketball sport hood over the last 40 years, okay? So, growing up in the Bay Area, if you were a Warrior fan around the months of April and May, guess what? They wasn't playing. So, you was watching the Showtime Lakers, all right? And this was everybody in California. So, if you were a Warrior fan, guess what? In the summertime, you was watching Showtime Lakers and you was a Laker fan. And it was either Lakers or Celtics and you was going for the Lakers. That's where my Laker fanhood comes from. But
Your dad wasn't watching no Laker games.
he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Where you think this came from, nigga? First game I went to was a Lakers versus Warriors game, nigga.
Sound like a Warrior game to me.
Man, if you was watching the game, you found it was a Lakers game.
They just so happened to be playing the Lakers that day.
Yeah. Too bad Joe Barry Carroll couldn't get the job done. Yeah. But no, definitely the Warriors because you actually, like Eric Drew said before, you know what I'm saying, you actually got to witness their success firsthand after witnessing years of turmoil. You know what I'm saying? Their whole marketing ploy was come see Yao and T-Mac and
It was
Kobe
a
and
great
David
time
Robinson
out.
and
Holiday,
King the Dream. And
It was.
just beat the shit out the Warriors. And it was just like, God damn, bro, can we get one win, bro? Nigga, you know what I'm saying? These niggas winning 27 games a year, bro. There's nothing to be happy about. Like, but
But with that being said, so how did that team resonate with you as it hurt you the most? Just because basketball is your favorite sport?
because if you understand the dynamic of the Bay Area, like as soon as Oakland do something that's good, San Francisco
Yeah.
want that shit.
Yeah, no,
You know what I'm saying?
I definitely know there's definitely a dynamic.
You know what I'm saying? Because the
Oakland
Warriors
being
were in the
little
Cow
brother.
Palace. The Warriors were in San Francisco before, and they didn't even want their ass.
Yeah, no, and there being a complex between Oakland and San Francisco, that's a real thing.
Exactly.
For sure. It is.
Exactly. New York and New Jersey.
But what if they would have? So what if they would have left the state? Would you would you have felt any different if they went to a different city than San Francisco?
I don't think they would have left.
I'm just saying hypothetically. What if they went to Vegas?
If they went to Vegas, you never know.
You might rock with
Probably.
it. So it's not just that they
But
left.
the thing about it is,
they
bro,
went to San Francisco.
See, this is the thing. Like, everybody be like, man, this nigga a fan, man. F that shit. But guess what, nigga? I'm not rooting against the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I still love the players and everything, but it's just y'all these owners and shit.
It's the owners. Okay,
I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
his owners and because I get it, it's the business and the reason, but you got to understand, bro. This is nigga. We used to walk to the Warriors game, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but I totally
Like-
feel you, and I was hurt
like,
too. But I
so-
can also see the big picture,
No,
and the business end.
But the big picture is different to everybody. Like one big picture is business, and one big picture is connection. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like to each his own. Like I don't have the capital on the franchise, so like I'm only going off the connection and
But
what
see-
basketball did for me. You know what I'm saying? So
Throughout the years, I've learned that the business end is bigger, is more important than the connection side.
to the businessman.
Yes, to the people who control the
To the
shit.
businessmen.
To us, of course. To us, it's the connection and all of that and the civic pride. And we walk around and have pride in wearing this Oakland jersey, or you know what I mean, a Warriors jersey, A's, Raiders, whatever. These players, you know, you could get traded tomorrow and you'd be playing for a whole different team. So yeah, I definitely saw that it's different on the business end, And I had to realize, and I had to accept that's the way it's going to be, because the people who control it are more concerned about the business end than the relationship and the community and the connection side.
And that's your choice. And I, you know what I'm saying? That's good. But the Lakers ain't owned by no business. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers is just the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? They don't come from the tech industry or...
Jerry Buss was a businessman. What the
He was in the business of the Lakers.
No, how you think he bought the Lakers? By just being a big Laker fan?
But listen, you already know.
He was a businessman,
at that time, bro. He was a bit. He was in the real estate and all that shit. I get it. But he wasn't in the tech. It wasn't like Steve Ballmer was.
Industry
like I'm going to buy a
it's just
basketball team and this is my hobby.
Bro.
Or James Dolan, you know what I'm saying, who's a Wall Street guy. He's like, oh, I'm just going to buy the Knicks.
I thought about this one too. And I think... my answer is, it's odd, because I think my answer is probably the A's, but it's wild because I'm not even, that's like the team that I'm a fan of probably the least, but I'll explain why. The first thing I want to say is kind of why, I'm a diehard Warriors fan. As a kid, I was a bigger Raider fan, but the Warriors kind of overtook that as I got older. But the Warriors... while they're leaving hurt, I feel like I was able to make peace with it. Number one, because they won before they left. Like back in the day when it was like We Believe, it was like, and when Lacob announced his intentions of, because that was on the table for a while, it was like, hey, he had these ideas of building this crazy stadium in San Francisco. I don't think we had won anything yet. And so it was kind of like, I just want them to win while they're in Oakland. That's what I wanted. I had no idea they would win 3. So by the time that they had left, when I sat down and looked at it, it was kind of like, you know what? Like, they did that. You know what I'm saying? So they checked those
what
boxes.
else could they do?
And I think what I would say is what Chase Center really did, which they privately funded, what Chase Center really did is it allowed them to have that ridiculous payroll that they had for all those years. Whatever. They've been in Chase since 2020, right? So the last handful of years. But like the whole way that we had the team that we had, where Curry's had the ankle, so we got him for whatever, the $44 million over 4 years. Yeah, exactly. And then we were able to build around him, right? By the time that they were winning, and it was like, oh, we're paying Curry, we're paying Clay, now we're trying to pay KD. Like Chase Center and the business side of it, the fact that it was like, oh, we can start throwing concerts or whatever, and we're getting all the revenue, like that subsidized, the way I look at that subsidized our fandom. It was like, we can have this payroll and the owners were willing to pay.
Yeah.
Like a lot of teams, their ownership is just like, yo, Clay's going or Draymond's going. Like Laker was always willing to pay because he was like, this is historic. Like I'm going to keep this team together. And I felt like the move to San Francisco was part of what afforded that. We won that 22 title because we still had Draymond and we still had Clay and we were still paying, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Poole, right? If I could still have the team in Oakland, but, we didn't have an owner with the mindset of that Lacob has, right? And so we're doing what a lot of these other teams are doing where we're just like playing cheap and whatnot. Like I would take, despite being a little bit hurt that they left, I would take them leaving. And the other thing I'll say is that they didn't go that far and they didn't become the San Francisco Warriors.
Not yet.
They're still the Golden State Warriors.
Not yet.
And you can say that this was like, whatever, lip service, but they showed a good amount of love to the town after they moved that they didn't necessarily have to. And not in a...
It was pandering.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think they went out of their way to kind of like recognize the history that the franchise had. Yeah, the legacy they had in Oakland.
They didn't want to alienate the East Bays.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
They
but
still had trolley cars on their uniforms when they was in the town.
The other thing
the right
is,
was on the wall.
Laker was specifically asked in an interview, do you plan on leaving? Do you plan on moving? When he bought the team, do you plan on moving the team? He said, no, our focus is keeping them in Oakland. So the opportunity presented itself, and it was a great opportunity. And I'm not knocking them for that, but they might have felt the need to do a little bit of damage control.
Do you think they could have continued to do what they did and what they're doing now if they had stayed in Oakland?
As far as what?
I think so.
Well, I mean, from a salary cap perspective and from the spending.
Yeah,
The
of
salary
course.
cap don't matter where
It's
you
capped. So I mean, they can spend. We're not. It's not baseball where there's no salary cap. We are there, like
Right,
So,
but
they
them
had the
paying
luxury tax and
but
all
them,
that stuff.
But them being willing
Yeah.
to pay the tax is
Who
because
knows
of
they
what
be willing?
is because of what they're able to make off the
Right.
gate at Chase. Center.
We're going to see.
Not just for the games,
No,
but
because
for
they
the
right.
concerts.
And so they didn't own.
That's my point.
Right. No,
It's
no, no.
If
Yeah,
they had
no, that's
stayed in
true.
Oakland, I think that it's not just. Like the team, them making less money would have changed what the
Right,
Warriors
because they would have to.
become.
Because they have to lease the building. They have to lease Oracle, opposed to owning.
It's going to
The
affect their
revenue
bottom
that they
line. They're not
generate-
going into the tax every year. Like every year when we had KD, they were like,
we-
we're going into the tax.
Yeah,
we're
right.
repeat offenders, all of that.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I can rationalize, even though it hurt. I would rather have that 22 title. I would rather be liking what I'm seeing this season. You know what I'm saying? Like then, because we had the team in Oakland.
No,
that's
I
ever,
agree.
You know
No,
what I'm
I
saying?
agree
And
with
those
you.
are some
CBA makes
leading
it
years.
They started doing business like a premier team.
CBA makes it a moot point.
No, because
does.
not with the. I don't know if you're talking. I don't know which direction you're going. But with the what's it called? The luxury tax. That's a big deal.
I think that's
my
his point. I think
that's
yeah,
my
yeah.
point. So the first and second apron.
Yeah,
So
but that's
I understand what you're saying.
But
And
it's
so it's
still-
just like the money that they're generating allows them to be. It allows them to be able to pay that tax more because of the
Historically,
revenue.
it did. Yeah, I think the
but now
latest
because of
CBA changed that.
It changed it because of the penalties involved.
Oh, okay.
So
I
what
see
you're
what
going
you're
to
saying.
see eventually is teams moving to how they structure their team different. It's not going to be a big three.
Right.
It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like sitting around one superstar or two
Bro, and
superstars.
that
and a lot of
honestly, that
players.
came from what we were doing, basically, where we had these really great players, and we were willing and able to pay them consistently, and the rest of the league was not a fan of that. All right, let's keep it moving because we got some more stuff to get to. The next question we had: So this is kind of philosophical. What responsibilities, if any, do sports franchises have to their surrounding communities?
None.
Obviously, none technically, but I feel as though we should hold them accountable as being members of the community. Right? They ask so much from us. Right? They ask so much of the fans. The least they could do is be a member of the community
And invest into the community.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they do with different charities and organizations and stuff like that. But they can do a lot more based off of what they take from the city, especially like for Oakland in general. So I come around to Drew's perspective because the amount of tax money that we're asked to pay, there's a net profit for the residents in terms of job supply and just revenue for the city.
Excellent point.
So it's 150 million net profit on average. If you look at not only Oakland but other cities where the taxpayers are asked to flip that bill, where it shouldn't just be on the city of Oakland, it should be on Alameda County.
and there's it shouldn't be on Alameda County
well, it should.
at
Well,
all.
yeah.
So
What's your opinion on like teams that play in Oakland, but their like community
Service is allocated to like different cities and counties.
all the teams had a little bit. They all do little something in Oakland, but you have to understand also that the whole fan base is not just Oakland.
Got to
So,
take care of the season ticket holders.
all that stuff. And so, look, we also have to remember Oakland is a small city, but 500,000 people. That's not enough.
So why-
That's not enough to maintain a professional sports team. You're gonna need those outside areas as well. You're gonna need that whole East Bay. Where you're not getting what do they want? 2.5, 3 million in attendance per year or something like that. You know what I mean? Oakland is not doing that.
No, they're not.
So that's just marketing. You got to spread out. So I understand that, but your point is real, and it's like as Oaklanders,
But
we feel overlooked oftentimes when these sports teams it feel like they invest in other cities than Oakland. When they want to do their marketing and they do their community service and go visit schools and all that stuff, yeah, it does feel like, how come y'all ain't out here? But that's not to say they never mess with Oakland. But when we see them going to other, especially like more affluent areas, we take that personal, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's like, it's cool to like have an outdoor basketball court painted with the logo, but when you see the players coming in doing the actual workshops out there in Contra Costa County and Livermore and Danville and all that, it make you feel a type of way, because it's like, man, you know what I'm saying? And we got kids out here too. They could, like, you know what I'm saying? At least, you know what I'm saying, use that positive reinforcement.
For sure. Yeah, and that's why I think that Steph, Clay, and Draymond in particular, they feel like they are Oaklanders for like how they invested it.
I'm not meaning to cut you off, but this was not like pointed no way towards Stephen Curry. I'm totally like aware of their community work.
Yeah, I'm just trying to highlight.
No, more so from the teams, right?
The teams.
Not the players,
and not even the Warriors, because the Warriors, to the Warriors' credit, like even right now, they're still in the city of Oakland doing community work, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like we feel like there is a responsibility to give back in some way to the community that supports them, right? These franchises with billion-dollar valuations, that money is based in large part on the support that they get, which starts with these local franchises, right? Yes, some of that money comes from, the sort of the esteem of the league that they play in and nationally televised games and all this kind of stuff, and like a national just following of the sport. But those gate ticket sales, merchandise, all that stuff, that's the local fan base. And I feel like the way that I see community programs sometimes, it's fine, it's nice, right? But they're not like, they're making billions, or their valuations are growing in the billions, and they might give $1 million here to, we're going to give $1 million in charity across different organizations, whatever. Believe you me, if they're giving away $1 million like that, just out of the goodness of their heart,
it's a tax write-off.
But I mean, they're making hundreds of millions.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
I know
that's my
where you were
point.
going.
And so where I'm going is, do we feel like it's almost like they have a pretty sweet deal, right? You have enough money to buy a franchise, then you get into this fraternity where you just get to print money, essentially,
for real.
because between revenue sharing, like there's no owners losing money at all. Let's not get it twisted. You'll hear, we were losing money in the past week. No, you're not, because the value of your team, unless your sport is on the downturn or whatever, which is not happening across the four major sports, or whatever. Like, you bought the team for X, and you can now sell it probably for some multiple of that.
You're always increasing.
So you're not losing money, right?
There's always an increase.
So I feel like, and this is, not to be like too radical, but like, I feel like there's a world where you could have mandated, I don't know what you would call this, like revenue sharing, right? If you want to have a sports franchise, 20% of the profit must be invested, or something along those lines, right?
Into the community.
Because what's happening right now is they're choosing. They're like, my profit is X. Let me give 0.07X. Let me give that off, and that's gonna be a tax write-off, and that's what I'm gonna do. The fact that we're letting them choose what they give, I feel like if there were the structure that we have could be different. Now this would require, this would have to be written into law, right? But if it was done at that level where it's almost like we have public utilities, right, that have to operate a certain way. If sports franchises were the same way, where it's like, if you want to own a sports franchise and you are doing this in a locality, at least this percentage of your profits must be, that. I feel like that is something that is not really done, but you see. It could be done.
That would be great, but that's just un-American, bro. That's un-American. Because
in what sense? In what sense?
As far as in a capitalistic way. And so the problem is you're trying to mix morals and professional sports. They don't mix, bro. They don't. And these owners will never.
If you have the laws, they're gonna walk away from a couple billion.
You would have to boycott like the fan bases.
Yeah, it's not ever going to happen because these are greedy ass rich people.
How we can make it happen? I'm saying, should it happen?
Of course,
Yeah,
but
no
that's in
question.
some utopia world that doesn't exist. And so the thing about it is, like, my thing is look at Oakland and through all the different eras of sports, right? And so whatever the golden era of Oakland sports is, right, as far as revenue generating, right?
Yep.
When did we ever feel any kickback or any support from any team? When did we ever feel like, man, you know what? Things was tough, but at least the A's came through and they did this and that. When did we ever feel that our city was better based on
and that's
my point, right? So I'm talking about bigger than after-school reading programs. I'm talking about public infrastructure, right?
So it's never been a factor, bro. That's what I'm saying. And that, like, to even going further as far as all these teams left, that's why I say see you later. Because when outside of civic pride, what did they ever give us? They ask us for money, right? They ask us for money, and our return investment is a jersey that we get to put on. And hey, put this on and feel proud about it. Nah, out of here, bro.
That's why they gone.
Hey,
so to bring it back to the Warriors, that's one of the. It's a double-edged sword. The whole Lake of privately funding Chase Center, right? But I think that one of the things he wasn't asking for a handout of like,
man, more power to you,
right?
I respect that. Let you invest your money or get private money from other lenders that you're going to pay back when it's going to directly affect your bottom line. But it doesn't affect ours. Yeah. So why are you asking me for money? My bills still got to get paid, whether I can pay my bills or not. I don't get a bailout from the Warriors or the Raiders or the A's.
But maybe you should.
Or the city. I should have.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or the city. Or the state. Or so.
Yeah, I just feel like they're able to make as much money as they do because of the surrounding community, and so I feel.
Of course.
I feel like there
should be an obligation.
I feel like
there should be, but
I feel like
I'm telling you, that's un-American.
It is un-American because
it's not capitalism.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not capitalism.
We're here to bleed.
If you recognize,
what industry can you compare that to?
No, but I'm saying this wouldn't be this. This isn't the leagues policing themselves. This is like the government regulating.
But like I said earlier, man, that charity, most of their charity stuff,
it's a drop in the bucket.
It's also the tax write-off.
That's my point.
They're gonna spend this money anyway. So it's like, do I want to pay this? I could pay this money to the IRS, or I could do some community service and get some brownie points in the process.
So that's to bring it back. That's the summation of my point. Is I think we sort of accept, like, you look at it, it's like, oh, they gave X amount to some charity. Oh, look at that. That's really, and I just feel like the standard that the bar that we're holding them to, it's so low, and how much they're actually making.
Correct.
And the fact that they're making it off the backs of the local community. And sometimes the local community is impacted because of whether it's through gentrification or what have you. The local community is often impacted by the sports franchise being there. And it's whatever they do is left up to the goodness of their heart. If they're a great, you know what I'm saying, then maybe they'll give a little bit more.
Yeah,
but
it's a lot of
it could be
PR.
regulated. It could be like, oh no, to be able to have this public utility that you have. No, you've got to do X, Y, and Z.
I feel like
you
just got my vote.
Yeah,
when you running for office?
Nah, for real. Because we understand what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these teams. It's a money grab. It's just the nature of the business. You know
it is.
And it's always been that.
And it's a business in a capitalist society that deals with people's passions. Exactly. Right? And so that's why it's always going to be like, they're always going to find another way to take advantage of our fandom. We all know fan is short for fanatic.
Exactly. And that's why it's so easy for them to shell it out night after night.
Yeah. I love sports just as much, just like anybody else, but the older I get, I realize it's just a tool, blood. It's a tool of distraction for us because there's so much more important stuff that's going on in society on a daily basis. Sports is just a distraction. And I speak for myself. If I spent as much time as I do on sports trying to do something else productive, I would be a much more productive person.
All right, so let's keep it moving. What do we think is next for sports in Oakland? Do we think
Oakland Ballers, Oakland Ballers, Oakland Roots,
franchise?
Oakland Ballers?
Do we think?
Yeah, I think eventually, just because each sports league recognizes just the passion of the fan base, that eventually we'll get some franchise or some expansion teams.
Would you want that? Would you want
Yeah.
like so the A's are in Vegas and now all of a sudden we got another
The
baseball
Rays,
team.
the Oakland Rays or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, it will take time to adjust to that, but yeah.
I would like that, but I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah,
Nobody's
I
going to
agree.
invest in. I don't see another team. I think
Go
we're.
ahead.
I
Okay,
think that's
thank
the
you.
only way for Oakland to get team is an expansion team or a team relocating. But the problem that those teams are going to run into
Wow.
is the same thing that the other
Yeah.
teams.
Why would
left.
Why would a new franchise want to come here? Why would a team relocate to Oakland? Relocate means you're already established somewhere, and you're gonna say, Oakland is a better host of a city than wherever I'm coming from.
Oakland, with everything that's transpired to this present day, I really believe that Oakland is not going to have another professional team here.
In the big three,
As far
because
as
we know we have Rooted and we have
The Roots and the Ballers, yeah.
the Roots and the Ballers. So we
Yeah.
have professional teams, but not in the
as
big
far
three.
as NFL,
MLB and
MLB and NBA, nah.
I don't think so either.
I think the people that are here right now understand and know the ins and outs of what it takes to have a professional team and understand that the owners ain't really rocking with them like that because
No, there's better places to
there's better
invest
places
if
to have a
you're-
professional team.
There
You
are.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so there's a lot of red tape out here with getting stuff done and
Exactly.
and a lot of stuff like that.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
but I think to answer your question, for me, I think that we really can't see yet. We don't know because we know the African American Sports Agency or
Yeah.
what.
I forget I know what you're saying. The
So
folks who bought the
they bought the Coliseum.
Coliseum, yep.
So we have to see how that turns out.
That's the point. That's what I'm asking with the question is expansion franchises could be an option, but I
But they're
think
not.
they might,
I don't think they're planning on using that for professional sports.
Exactly, that's
they're
my
not.
point. So is there a
The Roots
new
about to start
era
playing
of
there.
exactly? Is there a new era of what sports look like in Oakland that maybe
yeah.
is some of these, whether it's Ballers, Roots, or other kind of like engagement? Which I would say the Roots actually they were basically formed by people who were from Oakland, and they were like, we play soccer, let's start a club, and they did that.
Yeah.
So I think
They're a decent program
exactly
now.
like to me that's a cool.
Something we can get
Yeah,
behind.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like
Same with the Ballers.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so we lost these franchises that are part of this larger system, you know what I'm saying? But we have things sprouting up that might be
That's a sense of desperation. Nobody here messes with soccer.
What do you mean?
mean,
It's a sense of desperation. What having a what
No,
going
just
for
saying,
Roots?
I beg to
no,
differ.
just saying. Oh, I hope that the Roots become successful and we can
didn't
get
say-
behind that.
Nah,
We
I'm
didn't
no,
like-
but I'm
that.
saying like I could take my son to a Roots game.
Yeah, I was
You know
about to,
what
I
I'm
was
saying?
about to say
Like,
the
that's
I
the
same
kind of
thing.
thing.
My
It's like,
son
I could go
actually
to a
wants to go
Roots
to a
game.
Roots game.
Yeah, no, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying,
it's different, right? It looks different.
It will look different.
All right. So we've been talking for a while. We've covered a lot of ground on these past couple episodes. Personally, I'll say this was a pretty fun 2 episodes or 2 parts of a long episode to do. Hopefully, listeners, you felt so as well. I guess maybe right now we can just go around and anybody have any parting thoughts that they want to share.
Most definitely.
It was a hell of 60 years, man. It's a nice run.
I think the legacy is strong, and I do have pride in the legacy of Oakland sports. Now, moving forward, we don't have any of the big 3 right now, so obviously that has ended or whatnot. But we accomplished a lot, or a lot has been accomplished with these Oakland teams. But as far as just like summarizing this whole thing, for me, it's really tough because it does deal with a lot of emotions and stuff, and you had these relationships with these teams since you were a kid, right? And so you feel like you're part of it. And then you realize you're really not. Overall, yes, I miss all those teams and it bothered me, it hurt me that they left. But it's one of those things that it is what it is. And I really think that it's a unique situation for Oakland to handle it the way they have. You don't see many professional teams or many towns that host professional teams stand up to the team. I feel that, like, if this situation happens in the Midwest somewhere or something, all the people are going to rally around their team and they're gonna vote yes, we're going to donate or not. Well, excuse me, not donate, but yes, we'll allow our tax revenues to go towards this and that. And I feel like Oakland, man, we are smart enough, or we see the big picture enough to say, hold on. We love you guys. We love the sports teams. We love what you guys bring as civic pride and stuff like that. But we have bigger issues on the table than that. I think any person that live in Oakland can tell you or would tell you that money, our resources need to go to other places before they go there.
I think it comes down to three different owners. You have a broke owner in Mark Davis, a selfish owner in Fisher, and then an ambitious owner in Joe Lacob.
That's a good point.
And so Joe Lacob obviously relocated the team close by, which was mentioned through like private funding and stuff like that. And Mark Davis couldn't really afford to do anything else, and Fisher didn't really want to. It's bittersweet because it's just money needs to be allocated to other things for the city. But with that said, it still sucks because it's like my sons are young. I'm not going to be able to take them to a Oakland sporting event. They're not going to have that Oakland pride from like a sports perspective.
Any other parting thoughts?
Yeah, man. Professional sports don't belong here no more.
Don't
And
belong
Oakland.
here, huh?
Don't belong here.
They obviously gone, but you say
Don't belong here
they just
no
don't
more.
belong.
Professional
I ain't
sports,
mad
as
at
far
that.
as the big three,
I ain't mad at that.
MLB, NFL, NBA, you're not welcome.
You
here
had
no
your
more.
chance. Y'all left.
You done
Right.
got
We
more
didn't
enough
lose
money
y'all,
from
y'all
us.
lost us.
You know what I'm saying? You done got more enough money from us. You done got everybody from here to make money off of. It's whatever, man.
Yeah, but I feel like you can hear the hurt from all of us, right? So it's just like we have.
We're scoring fans.
We are scoring fans because it's like all of us care about sports, and I know Red and Jew, like your kids care about sports as well.
Yeah.
And so there's that investment in the teams, and so you guys were able to create, memories with your kids at these sporting events and stuff. And that's the part that's unfortunate that Oakland isn't going to be able to have anymore.
Not to cut you off, one of my best memories from a game that I took my son to, Cal basketball, not even professional sports. I had the best. I still remember that game. I took him like to this day. Like it was him, a couple of his teammates. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They had Mac Dre playing. They was sitting there eating popcorn. You know what I'm saying? We go get concessions. The concession guy was hella cool. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They just had a genuine good time, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There is.
They didn't even care about who was out there. They were just having a good time. And that was just like really nostalgic. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like coming up for us. You know what I'm saying? That's how like baseball games were like, you know what I'm saying, presented to us. It was like a real
we just have to
father-son
find-
bonding thing.
Well, that's kind of
we
the
gotta
hope.
find
You know
the
what
next
I'm saying?
thing.
That's the hope of what the Ballers and the Roots could
Exactly.
be. It's like it's
Exactly.
getting back to
that. Yeah,
the
exactly.
essence of
the
like,
personable
yeah,
aspect of it, so you can really just have that real human experience.
About to rock with the Sharks, man. Mac can celebrate.
We do got to hit a Sharks.
Yeah,
game.
I was gonna say.
I'm cool.
Well, I think that's probably a good place
It's a
to
hockey
leave it.
game in general.
Yeah, let's do it.
Not even sure what we're gonna talk about next. We'll have to figure that out offline. But until next time, remember Oakland is as Oakland does.
One thing, I'm sorry.
It's
I
all good.
kind of just threw off your. I tried to hit you before you got
It's all
into your
good.
thing, but I just want to tell everybody to remember to give us feedback, man, in these comments and stuff, and tell us like on these questions that we had. We threw out a couple questions. There were a couple things that never fully got answered, so we're gonna need y'all to be the deciding answer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Follow us on Instagram if you're not already. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your children.
I got one thing to add. Professional sports in Oakland ain't dead. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, it's not.
Baseball gone, football gone, basketball gone, but we haven't really spoke on like pound for pound one of the best boxers in the world is from Oakland, California. And that's Andre Ward. You know what I'm saying? And
Well, he was. He's retired though, right?
he is retired, but me personally, like I don't know if like I'm a boxing coach, so I know the influence he's had on the youth.
in Oakland, present day. And I can tell y'all, like, man, like 5 years from now, y'all gonna be like, man, there's some dogs coming out that town, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we looking forward to that.
You know what I'm saying? So we gonna be all right, man. We just gonna do what we do.
All right. I think that's a good place to leave it. Until next time, remember, Oakland is as Oakland does. Stay grounded and spread love.
We realize that our power is nickel plate. Masses move as well as asses do. Classes through. Our time is over past this due. And you still wanna know the origin of the flow. Oakland, California, now for 6-1 up. Yeah, the coup coming at you in 93. Yeah, and we out, y'all.